What's up, and welcome to the video. Today we are talking about this little guy, actually not so little guy on my wrist, the Apple Watch Ultra. Now I feel like this is a watch that, I don't know about you, but I've kind of been waiting for like the last year. I feel like Apple was going to drop a watch like this sometime last year based on all the rumors and leaks of like the flat Apple Watches that were floating around. But you know, in typical Apple fashion, they were a little late to that party. So now we have the flat, super durable, ultra rugged, largest and most capable Apple Watch ever, the Apple Watch Ultra, and you and I are gonna sit here and talk about it. So let's do this. So according to Apple, the Watch Ultra was designed for the extreme athlete, or at least the type of person that might subject themselves to some more extreme situations. And that's evident whenever you take a look at like how the watch was designed, how it was built, and also the types of features that are built in. So it's the largest and most rugged Apple Watch ever, but with that larger size comes the benefit of being able to put in a larger battery. So compared to all the previous Apple Watches, this one lasts the longest on a single charge by far. And then there's other features like being fully made out of titanium and ceramic whenever it comes to the enclosure. So it's really durable whenever it comes to bumps and scratches and just hard impacts on the watch. There's also a sapphire glass plate on the front as well, which will add to that durability factor. And then there are some really nice features built in, mainly a much higher water resistance rating compared to the traditional Apple Watch. We've got a couple of extra microphones built in, a dedicated action button. There's a lot going on with the Watch Ultra. And the reason why I say according to Apple at the beginning of this whole idea is because, yeah, Apple tells us that they designed this watch for the extreme athlete or the extreme situation, but there's really a couple of things with that scenario, right? How many people are extreme enough to actually find value in this watch? Like, did Apple actually put enough in this watch to appeal to the demographic that they want to appeal to? But at the same time, how many people like myself who are not extreme at all are just gonna buy the watch and appreciate it for what it is? So that's what we're gonna get into. In terms of extreme features that are built into the Watch Ultra, there is quite a bit going on. So let's start with the display itself. The Watch Ultra has a 2000 nits peak max brightness, which is twice as bright as any other Apple Watch in the lineup. And throughout my use with it, I actually found it really, really nice. So whether you're indoors or outside in direct sunlight, brightness is not a problem. It's a great display here. And the cool part is, let's say at night, you might find yourself without your phone that has a built-in flashlight. The Watch Ultra at that peak max brightness comes in pretty handy as a flashlight in some, pinch of certain situations. Now, there is also a triple microphone array built into the watch that uses like a combination of algorithms and machine learning to not only detect which of the three would be best at picking up your voice in the moment, but it also uses those smart features to cancel out loud noises and wind in the background. If you were to watch Apple's like product demonstration on the Watch Ultra to show this off, there was a guy in like this super remote location in the middle of like a ridiculous snowstorm that was using the Watch Ultra to talk to his base camp. Apparently worked really well, looks super dope too. Now, the water resistance on the Watch Ultra has also been bumped up to WR100M. This stands for water resistance 100 meters, and it's going to be great for things like going scuba diving with the watch. Now, there's also a built-in depth application that can actually be set to automatically turn on whenever you submerge the Apple Watch in water. And this application is going to be designed to tell you how long you've been submerged in water, the water temperature, and it's also designed to tell you, obviously, your depth, like how deep you are going into a body of water. Now, there's dual frequency GPS in case you find yourself, in a remote location like a forest or somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and you just decide to go hiking. So that dual frequency GPS is going to be super accurate in terms of making sure you know exactly where you are when you're lost in the middle of nowhere. And there's also a built-in siren mode, which Apple says is, reaching up to 86 decibels and can be heard up to 600 feet away. Again, which would be great for someone like myself, because if you put me in a remote location, I'm gonna have absolutely no idea where I'm at. Now, did I use all of those extreme features throughout my testing period? Absolutely not. What I did find the most useful during my testing period was the brightness of the display, I noticed that like right away. As soon as I was setting up the watch, once I got done, I started setting up the new watch faces and things like that. I immediately noticed just how much brighter the display on the Watch Ultra was. So that was sick. And the other two biggest things that I noticed was the durability of the watch and the battery life. So I frequently visit the gym, sometimes twice a day. So they're oftentimes, tracking a couple workouts throughout the day. And it's nice to be able to go to the gym and not have to worry about random bumps and nicks and scratches on the watch if I accidentally hit it up against like a free weight or like a barbell, or if I decide to go play basketball, I don't have to worry about damaging the watch with, 5-on-5 pickup basketball with full contact and things like that. And in terms of battery life, I'm able to do all that stuff on a daily basis, track all those workouts and things like that. And I have been averaging pretty close to 48 hours on a single charge with the Watch Ultra. Now, the big key with me is that I don't use my watch for sleep tracking. It's just a little too big, in my opinion, to wear while I'm asleep. But I'm sure if I were to use it for sleep tracking, it would be a little less. But either way, 48 hours for me is pretty impressive for an Apple Watch. Now, if you were to take that battery life and compare it to some of the other big, expensive smartwatches out there, it's probably not as impressive. There are definitely some competing smartwatches that have battery lives that's going to last like at least a few more days, maybe even a couple of weeks. Like I've seen some smartwatches out there that are almost rated for like at least an entire month on a single charge. So whenever you look at close to 48 hours on the Watch Ultra, it might not be super impressive compared to those watches, but whenever you compare it to every other Apple Watch that's previously existed, 48 hours is pretty decent. One other new feature with the Watch Ultra is going to be found on the other side, and it is called the Action button, which is also coming in a color called International Orange, which apparently is actually like an internationally recognized color from the research I've done. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, the Action button is able to be programmed to perform, as the word would imply, certain actions whenever you click it. So there's like 8 different ones. I can't memorize all of them, but I'm going to show you all of them in the Watch Settings app here on the video. But I have mine basically set to every time I push it, it opens up the workout menu, and then I can go through and pick which workout I would like to track. Now, if you're someone that would like to get a little more in depth with stuff like that, yes, you can actually program it to launch a specific type of workout, but I just have it the way it is because, like I do a variety of workouts. So it's pretty cool. Again, I don't know how completely useful this is for like the extreme athlete, but it is nice to kind of save that extra step of navigating to whatever app you want to launch consistently and then going from there. So Action button's pretty cool. If you are interested in the Apple Watch Ultra, Apple will make it really easy for you to pick one because it literally only comes in one size and one color. So it comes in this raw titanium color, which quite honestly, the overall look of the color has grown on me. I've always typically favored more of like the darker, more neutral colored Apple Watches. So I was curious to see how this color was going to look after using it for a couple weeks. It's definitely grown on me and I really like it. And if you have like the right bands to pair it with, especially with like a watch face, you can definitely pull it off and make it look really nice. Now I will say the one size it comes in is big, 49 millimeters, which I actually happen to like a lot. I do have tiny wrists, but I love big watches, so I'm kind of cool with the overall vibe the big Apple Watch Ultra brings whenever you wear it. But if you happen to have 45 millimeter bands, that will still be compatible with the 49 millimeter Apple Watch, which is pretty cool if you've been typically citing more towards the larger Apple Watches and you've accumulated a lot of 45 millimeter bands throughout the course of the last couple of years. Now, here's where things get interesting in terms of the actual price and whether or not the watch is worth it, which is always a little subjective. So the Watch Ultra, like I said, only one configuration and it's $799. Now, whether or not it's going to be worth it is honestly going to come down to how much you justify the use case scenario that you're going to get out of the watch. I got a couple $100s to trade in my previous watch, so the watch didn't cost me $799. It was a little bit cheaper, but either way, I think from my own experience and the expectations that I had with this watch, I have more than thoroughly enjoyed wearing this watch and using it every single day. It is my favorite Apple Watch to date, and even though I don't use all of the super extreme built-in features of the watch, the bigger size, the added durability, and the much better battery life were enough on its own to justify the watch for me. But again, it's just going to come down to whether or not you feel like you're going to get enough use out of it to justify the price tag. Now, I do have one other question. If you're a viewer out there that actually could take advantage of some of the extreme features that are built into this watch, let me know in the comment section if this watch is actually appealing to you. Because the most extreme thing about me is that I might run, like 2 or 3 Spartan races throughout the year, but that's about it. And I don't really consider that too extreme. But if you're someone that goes diving a lot or goes hiking in super remote locations, does a product like the Watch Ultra actually entice you enough to pick it up? Because that's something I've been wondering throughout my review period with the watch. But either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and you're new here, hit the like and subscribe button down below. And if you are not new here, you already know the deal. You're amazing. Thank you so much for watching. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Again, which would be great for someone like myself, because if you put me in a remote location, I'm gonna have absolutely no idea where I'm at. Dude, I forgot what else I was gonna say, so I figured I'd stop right there.